The world carries a quiet misunderstanding that goodness means softness, that kindness means surrender, that to be virtuous is to let others shape your days, your choices, your peace. But this is not kindness. This is fear wearing a noble mask. For the person who is too nice is not guided by compassion, but by the dread of disappointing others, the dread of conflict, the dread of being judged. And so the mind bends where it should stand, gives where it should pause, and tolerates what it should challenge. True kindness is not a warm smile given to everyone. True kindness is a life lived by principle, not pressure. It is the strength to say no without trembling, and the courage to be just even when others demand convenience. A life without boundaries is a life handed over. The one who cannot refuse becomes a servant to every request, every expectation, every passing desire of another. So let this be the beginning of a different path, a path where goodness is steady, not weak, where compassion is strong, not self-destructive, where a calm no becomes an act of wisdom, and a clear boundary becomes an act of justice. Because the world does not need another person who is nice. The world needs a person who is grounded, disciplined, and guided by reason rather than guilt. Let us begin by answering the question, why being too nice destroys self-respect. There is a quiet moment, often unnoticed, when a person realizes they have given away too much of their life in small pieces. Not through a great sacrifice, not through a noble act, but through countless tiny concessions. The favors agreed to out of guilt, the silence kept to avoid discomfort, the boundaries abandoned to earn affection. Each choice feels harmless, yet each one leaves a faint crack in the mind. And over months, years, even decades, those cracks become a pattern where the needs of everyone else become the ruler, while one's own needs remain unspoken, untouched, and eventually forgotten. People soon sense this pattern, not always with cruelty, but certainly with convenience. The world gravitates toward the one who never refuses, the one who always rescues, the one who sacrifices without being asked. What begins as kindness slowly becomes expectation. What begins as generosity quietly becomes duty. And the person who once gave from warmth now gives from exhaustion, unable to stop because others have grown accustomed to their surrender. But this is where self-respect weakens. A person cannot respect themselves while simultaneously allowing their own well-being to be trampled by every passing request. A person cannot feel strong when their voice is used only to agree. A person cannot feel whole when their time belongs to everyone but themselves. Nature offers a lesson in this. A river that flows without banks becomes a flood. A fire without a hearth burns the home it means to warm. Person without boundaries destroys their own peace while trying to preserve the peace of others. The world does not admire endless compliance. It quietly takes advantage of it. And each time a person says yes when wisdom whispers no, the inner voice grows weaker, the heart grows resentful, the mind grows bitter, the spirit grows tired. Not because others are cruel, but because self-preservation was abandoned in the name of appearing good. But virtue is not a performance. Kindness is not measured by how much suffering one can endure. And goodness is not the same as being endlessly available. Self-respect is born the moment a person realizes something important. A boundary is not an act of rejection. It is an act of clarity, and true clarity honors both others and oneself. Now let's shift our focus towards how we can set boundaries. A person who wishes to live with peace must learn the art of drawing lines. Not lines of aggression, nor lines meant to divide, but lines that protect the mind from being consumed by the demands of the world. Stoicism teaches that a boundary is not a wall. It is a clear understanding of what belongs to one's control and what belongs to another's desire. Those who struggle with being too nice often believe that refusing someone is cruelty. Yet the truth is far different. A refusal made with calm and honesty protects both sides. It prevents resentment from growing, prevents obligations from becoming chains, and prevents relationships from rotting under hidden frustration. A boundary is an act of reason. Here is the Stoic method to build it. These are the ways we can set boundaries. Act from principle, not from fear. Most people-pleasing is born from fear. Fear of conflict, fear of disappointing someone, fear of being judged or misunderstood. But decisions guided by fear are rarely wise. Before agreeing to anything, pause and ask, is this choice in harmony with my values, or am I trying to avoid an uncomfortable moment? This single question removes guilt from the equation and replaces it with clarity. When the mind acts from principle, the body stands firm without trembling. Speak briefly, speak calmly, speak without apology. A boundary collapses the moment it begins to over-explain itself. The person who apologizes repeatedly, who provides long justifications, who softens every word with nervous guilt, teaches others to push back. A Stoic boundary is simple. Thank you, but that will not be possible. This cannot be done. No. Spoken without hostility, without shame, without the need to defend one's own worth. When words are few, the message is strong. Let others feel what they feel. A great secret lies here. The reaction of another person is not something anyone can control. If someone becomes disappointed, angry, or offended, that reaction belongs to them, not to the one who simply protected their own time or peace. The burden of another's emotion is not automatically one's own to carry. Stoicism teaches that each person's life is shaped by their judgments, not by the actions of others. And if a boundary causes anger in another, the anger reveals their expectations, not one's wrongdoing. Let them have their feelings. Let them sit with their disappointment. Let them adjust to the new truth. Not every request will be granted. This acceptance is the gateway to strength. Disappoint quickly, not slowly. Most people who are too nice attempt to delay the moment of refusal. They say maybe, or offer hope they cannot fulfill, or agree reluctantly and suffer quietly. But delaying the inevitable only increases the conflict. A Stoic offers clarity early. Clarity prevents confusion. Clarity prevents resentment. Clarity prevents chaos. It is far kinder to give someone a firm no in the beginning than to hide behind hesitation and break the expectation later. Disappointment given promptly is a gift of honesty. Protect your time as you would your life. Time is the only possession that once lost cannot be regained. People may ask for minutes, but they take hours. They may ask for a favor, but it becomes a habit. A wise person guards time with quiet seriousness, not selfishly but responsibly. Every no protects the mind from being stretched thin. Every boundary preserves energy for the duties that truly matter. Every refusal ensures that life is lived intentionally, not reactively. To protect one's time is to protect one's soul. Build a reputation for firmness, not softness. When a person is consistent, the world adapts to their firmness. People stop asking for unreasonable things. People stop assuming they will always say yes. People begin to approach with respect, not expectation. Consistency is the armor that makes boundaries unquestioned. A firm person is not feared. A firm person is trusted, because clarity is integrity, because steadiness is strength. Remember, a boundary is an act of justice. Some believe boundaries are selfish. Stoicism sees them differently. Boundaries create healthier relationships, cleaner expectations, more honest communication. A boundary prevents resentment from poisoning the well of goodwill. A boundary stops self-sacrifice from becoming silent suffering. A boundary honors both the giver and the receiver. The person who sets boundaries is not withdrawing from the world. They are entering it with wisdom. The path of boundary setting demands courage. It challenges old habits, reshapes long-held patterns, and forces a person to choose clarity over comfort. Yet once these boundaries begin to take shape, once the mind learns to say no without trembling, once guilt is replaced with reason, and once others adjust to the firmness they had never seen before, a new question arises. How should kindness look now? This is where the next truth begins. Kindness without strength becomes sacrifice. Strength without kindness becomes cruelty. Wisdom lives in the balance between the two. A good person does not allow the world to harden the heart, but neither does a good person allow the world to drain it empty. There is no virtue in letting others consume one's time without restraint. There is no nobility in agreeing to every request. There is no moral greatness in abandoning one's own needs simply to avoid displeasing someone else. A life without boundaries cannot sustain true compassion. For a person who is constantly exhausted cannot offer real help. A person who is constantly stretched thin cannot offer real presence. A person who is constantly overrun cannot offer real kindness. Strength protects kindness. Clarity protects peace. Boundaries protect the part of the soul that makes goodness possible. Let the world call firmness coldness. Such judgments reveal more about the speaker than the one who stands steady. Let those who are accustomed to taking grow frustrated. Frustration is how they learn that your life is not theirs to command. Let those who demand unlimited access discover that virtue is not obedience. Gentleness is powerful when it is chosen, not when it is extracted. Compassion is meaningful when it is free, not when it is forced. Kindness is pure when it arises from strength, not from fear. So move through the world with a steady mind, open-hearted, but not open to trespass, generous, but not endlessly available, patient, but not permissive, kind, yet never at the cost of your own soul. Because the world does not need another person who breaks themselves to keep others comfortable. The world needs a person who carries kindness with discipline, strength with gentleness, and clarity with compassion. A person whose goodness stands on two legs, not one. This is kindness with a spine. This is compassion rooted in wisdom. This is the path of someone who chooses strength, and therefore has something meaningful to give.